Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Hello everybody. Let's enjoy. Let me show you theories in educational leadership and management with our beloved lecturer Dr. Harudin bin Muhammad Ali. Our group presents models of educational management, ambiguity models, and leadership contingency models. But first, let me introduce you to our group members. I am Fatimatu Zahara binti Fahurazi. This is Group 3, Nur Adila binti Muhammad Ismail as a group leader. Me, Fatimatu Zahara binti Fahurazi. Third, Nur Hafiza binti Kamaruzzaman. Next, Nur Ayuni binti Sulaiman. And the last one, Azimah binti Mahamud. This is objective for our topic. First, to elaborate the central features of ambiguity models and contingency models. Second, to describe goals, structure, environment, and leadership. Also, limitation of ambiguity models and contingency models. And third, to explain potential application in Malaysian school. Let's see ambiguity models. What is ambiguity models? Unpredictable, turbulence, uncertain. As described by Bush 2006, ambiguity models educational institutions have no clearly defined objectives. Ambiguity models decisions have no clear focus due to lack of agreed rules. Ambiguity models schools experience difficulties in interpreting the various messages being transmitted from the environment. Total ambiguity models decentralization enables the organization to survive while particular subunits are threatened. There is also fluid participation in the management. As you see, ambiguity models links between the groups are tenuous and unpredictable. Also, organizational structure is problematic. So that ambiguity models appropriate for professional clients serving organizations. Okay, everybody, don't miss the next presenter. And thank you.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I am Nur Ayuni binti Sulaiman from Group 3. I would like to continue our group presentation. I will help you to know about 1. The central features of ambiguity models and the garbage can model. There are 9 major features of ambiguity model. Number 1, there is a lack of clarity about the goal of the organization. Many institutions are thought to have inconsistent and opaque objectives. Number 2, ambiguity models assume that organizations have a problematic technology in that their processes are not properly understood. Next, ambiguity theories argue that organizations are characterized by fragmentation. Schools are divided into groups which have internal coherence based on common values and goals. That means, links between the groups are more tenuous and unpredictable. Next, we will continue with the 4th central features of ambiguity management model. Ambiguity models of organizational structures is problematic due to the committees and other formal bodies have rights and responsibilities which overlap with each other and with the authority assigned to individual manager. Ambiguity models is appropriate for professional clients serving make individual judgment rather than acting in accordance with managerial prescriptions operating in a climate of ambiguous organizations. Number 6. Ambiguity theories also emphasize that there is a fluid participation in the management of organization. The participants in the organization vary among themselves in the amount of time and effort they devote to the organization. Individual participants vary from one time to another. A further source of ambiguity is provided by the signal emanating from the organization environment. In an area of rapid change, schools may experience difficulty in interpreting the various messages being transmitted from the environment and in dealing with conflict signals. The uncertainty arising from the external context adds to the ambiguity of the decision-making process within the institution. Ambiguity theories emphasize the prevalence of unplanned decisions. The lack of agreed goals means that decisions have no clear focus. Problem, solution, and participants interact and choose somehow emerge from the confusions. The last of central features is ambiguity models stress the advantages of decentralization. Given the complexity and unpredictability of organization, it is thought that many decisions should be devolved to subunits and individuals. What is the garbage can model? A key to understand the processes within organization is to view a choice opportunity as a garbage can into which various problems and solutions are done by participants. The garbage can model turns decision-making process around and argues that managers are as likely to start decision-making from solution side as from problem side. In other words, decision maker may propose solutions to problems that do not exist. They create a problem and they can solve it with solutions that are already available. The garbage can theory adds that an organization is a collection of choices looking for problems, issues, and looking for decision situation. Problem, solutions, participant, and choice opportunities flow in and out of a garbage can, and which problems get attached to solution is largely due to change. That's all my presentation today, and I hope you all enjoy, and I sincerely appreciate your attention today. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. I am Nur Adila binti Muhammad Ismail. I'm going to present on ambiguity models, goals, structure and external environment, limitations of ambiguity models, and third, potential application in Malaysian schools. The goals of ambiguity model. Decision making represent an opportunity for discovering goals rather than promoting policies based on existing objectives by Cohen and March 1986. The process of adaptation by Hall and Wallace 2007 shows how organizational goals often arise uneasily from external prescriptions and expectations. This requires a process of adaptation which might be seen broadly as compliance, non-compliance, or meditation. This may lead teachers to modify externally generated goals so that they become more congruent with their professional values. Now we will look at the organizational structures of ambiguity model. First, institutions classify responsibilities into decision areas, which are then allocated to different bodies or individuals. However, this decision area may not be delineated clearly, or the topic treated within each area may overlap. Second, decision may also be classified in other ways. Third, rules and the regulation concerning the decision-making processes within the formal structure may be unclear. Lastly, element designed to deal with emergencies or procedural conflicts. The external environment of ambiguity models. Alright, it is a source of ambiguity which contributes to the unpredictability of organizations. Schools and colleges have to be increasingly sensitive to the demands of client and potential client. It is the most potent influence on school actions and decision making. And lastly, interact with each other, unpredictable aspect of organizations to produce a confused pattern. Limitations of ambiguity models. First, it is difficult to reconcile ambiguity perspectives with the customary structures and processes of schools and colleges. Second, they exaggerate the degree of uncertainty in educational institutions. The third limitation of ambiguity models, they are less appropriate for stable organization or for any institutions during periods of stability. And lastly, they offer little practical guidance to leaders in educational institutions. Now, we will look at the potential application of ambiguity models by Kern Ferry. Kern Ferry describes a skilled professional who manages ambiguity as being able to, first, deal comfortably with the uncertainty of change. Second, handle risk effectively. Third, decide and act without the total pictures. Fourth, be calm and productive even when things are up in the air. And last, deal constructively with problems that do not have clear solutions or outcomes. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Now I shall pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Thank you, my friend Nur Adila. Assalamualaikum and good morning. I am Nur Hafiza binti Kamal Zaman and would like to present the contingent leadership model. I will talk about central features of contingency leadership model, Fred Fiedler model, decision-making model, and the last part is conclusion. The contingency theory of leadership focuses on how specific situations affect a leader's effectiveness and how a leader's ability to adapt can be their most important tool in the workplace. Okay, there are three main factors here that are traits, behavior, and situation. And the most important thing is the approach emphasizes the leader's personality and the situation in which that leader operates. This theory supposes that a leader's effectiveness is contingent on whether or not their leadership style suits a particular situation. According to this theory, an individual can be an effective leader in one circumstance and an ineffective leader in another one. This requires you to be self-aware, objective, and adaptable. In the workplace, the factors that can affect a leader's effectiveness that are the size of the team, the scope of a project, and the expected delivery date for a result. Contingency theorists say that no matter how successful a leader is, there will always be a particular situation that will challenge them. Leaders must be willing to acknowledge the fact that Their success depends partially on their circumstance in addition to their personal skills. To lead their team well, managers and supervisors may need to either adapt their leadership style to the current situation or delegate some of their leadership responsibilities to a co-worker. There are specific factors that impact by the average workplace. Various contingency models of leadership were developed, but today I will explain two specific models for how it can be applied in a work environment. The first is Bradfield model. It has two factors, that is leadership style. In this factor, you determine your style of leadership, and the second is situation variables that determine a particular situation favorableness. It depends on three distinct factors. The first one is leader-member relation. This factor measures how much your team trusts you. The second is task structure. This factor measures the task performance. And the last is leader's position power. This is determined by the level of authority you display to reward or punish subordinates. In leadership style, the skill called preferred co-worker skill. To use this skill, you must think a team member you did not or do not enjoy working with, and then you must rate the person on the following skill. According to this skill, the more you rate the person you least like to work with, the more relationship-oriented you are, while the less you rate the person you like to least working with, the more task-oriented you are. Task-oriented are more concerned with meeting goals than with maintaining relationships. They also organize and excel at completing projects. Relationship-oriented has focused their energy on building and maintaining healthy and productive relationships in the workplace. They are skilled in conflict management and take multiple variables into account when making decisions. Decision-making model. This particular theory believes decision-making is a crucial element of leadership and determines the relationship between the leader and their team members. Building and maintaining this relationship directly affect the leader's success. It helps to know how much employee involvement is necessary to make decisions. This model identifies 5 different styles based on the situation and level of involvement. A1 refers to autocratic type 1. The leader makes their own decision. They use information that is currently available to them. A2, the leader collects the required information and makes the decision alone. C1 refers to consultative type 1. The leader shares problems individually. They seek their ideas and suggestions but make decisions alone. C2, the leader shares problems as a group. They seek their ideas and suggestions and make decisions alone. And the last is collaborative, G2. The leader discusses problem and situation. They seek their ideas and suggestions through brainstorming. And the decision is made together based on a vote. As a conclusion, contingency theory is beneficial to organizations. It is helpful because of its potential for learning from specific situations. The contingency theory approach is practical when integrated into organizational theory. The theory integrates various management approaches. It proposes that there is no one best way to organize or lead a company. The lesson helps to influence future management of the same or similar condition. The ability to adapt to external pressures and changes is also an advantage. Several models attempt to understand the relationship between style and situation. This model helps frame the contingency viewpoint among leaders. Okay, that's all from me. Teacher Azima will continue the last part of the group presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sister Hafiza. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Professor Dr. Hairudin and fellow friends. I am Azima binti Muhammad and now it's my turn to share with all of you my topics. Let's start. Okay, first, Situational Leadership Contingency Model, created by Paul Hefsey and Kenneth Blanchard, 1977. Situational leadership model is the one of the contingency theories of leadership. Simply states that there is no one best leadership style for all situations. The leadership style that is best for a particular situation depends on the employee's skill set and attitude. So, basic explanation for this model by Hersey and Blanchard is like this. The x-axis signifies the degree of directive behavior, that is the degree of one-way communication from the leader to the employee. Then, the y-axis signifies the degree of supportive behavior, that is the degree of two-way communication from the leader to the employee. The model proposes that four primary leadership styles, which are directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. Besides the leadership style, the model proposed the level of the development of the employee. Moving from D1 to D4, the employee is becoming more competent and more confident at his or her job. Remember, identifying employee readiness is crucial for any leader. It helps them identify the best leadership style when dealing with each individual employee. And now, we're going to look at the other one of the contingency of leadership, which is the path goal theory model. Path goal is based on Bloom's expectancy theory, in which an individual will act in a certain way based on the expectation. The path goal theory was first introduced by Martin Evans and further developed by House. The path goal model is a theory based on specifying a leader style or behavior that best fits the employee and work environment in order to achieve a goal. The goal is to increase your employees' motivation, empowerment, and satisfaction so they become productive members of the organization. Path goal theory generally follows these basic steps. First, determine the subordinate characteristics and environmental factors. Second, select a leadership style which are directive, supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented, and focus on motivational factors that will help the employee succeed. So, these are the advantages and disadvantages of the path goal theory of leadership. We can conclude that both of the model, situational leadership and the path goal theory, are very similar, except the situational leadership has a structure to the model which makes it easier to grasp. Let's continue the limitation of models in contingency leadership theory. There are some of the major limitations of contingency approach, which are first, inadequate literature, second, complex, third, difficult empirical testing, and lastly, reactive, not proactive. Let's see the first one. Inadequate literature. Contingency approach suffers from inadequacy of literature. Therefore, it has not adequately spelled out various types of actions which can be taken under different situations. Second, complex. The suggestion of the approach is very simple. However, when put into practice, it becomes very complex. Third, difficult empirical testing. The theory, it is necessary that some methodology is available, but because of the involvement of too many factors, testing becomes difficult. And lastly, reactive, not proactive. Contingency approach is basically reactive in nature. Therefore, managers are responsible to manage the environment in such a way that they avoid the undesirable aspects of environment. Okay, now let's see the potential application in Malaysian school for contingency leadership model. I'm sure all of you heard this term Organizational Strategic Planning or Plan Strategic Organisasi PSO. Each school in Malaysia will do the PSO and led by the principal for each unit in school, curriculum, students' affairs, co-curriculum, and others. There are 4 phases of proper organizational plan, which are strategic planning, tactical planning, operational planning, and lastly, contingency planning. Contingency planning is a technique that aims to reduce or eradicate uncertainty from strategic and operational planning, and it attempts to answer the what-if question about major issues. In fact, the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013-2025 is one of the strategic plans of the Ministry of Education, which is referred to by all levels of the education system in our country. PSO may lead the principals to analyze SWOT and also analyze the environment or situational in school. Now, the conclusion is the discussion examines the popular concept of leadership, highlights its features and importance in the success of any school administration. It discussed the categorization of leadership theories and the category of leadership perspectives called situational models and that referred to as contingency leadership theories. Okay, just recap our contents. Start with ambiguity model, 2 potential application in relation school of contingency leadership model. Okay, this is our references. That's all. Thank you for watching.
Alright, it is concluded here that each leadership and management model has a different approach. Thus, leaders and management should not be guided by a single model because the applicability of this model depends on events, situation, and several considerations. Even so, this model is true and applicable, but its relevance varies depending on the content. A problem can be solved with one or more models as a reference, but an organization cannot be described through one approach alone. As according to Bradridge 1978, the search for a comprehensive model is simple, but no single model can describe the intricacies of the decision-making process in an organization such as colleges and universities. As a suggestion, those who want to be involved in the world of leadership and management should learn, understand, and master all the theories in order to use the theoretical approach in facing the challenges and differences of problems that occur more successfully and effectively. That's all from our group. See you soon and thank you.